Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. My name is Jason O'Hare. I'm the Vice President of Sales here at WordStream, joined here by some all-stars here to give you a great presentation. We appreciate everyone showing up. So let's dig right in. Kind of agenda, we're going to do a little introduction, going to introduce our speakers here. We're going to go over some key trends in online marketing for 2012 from Google. We have a little bit of trivia and a nice poll here, kind of get some interaction going. And then we're going to introduce our 3 paths to PPC success. And then, of course, we have questions and answers at the end. If you do have any questions, I believe you can actually ask them ongoing through the presentation. We'll save them to the end. If you'd like to take part, if you're on Google+, Twitter, LinkedIn, please join the conversation. It's #PathsPPC, and join on in. Okay, first off, I want to introduce Howard Tung. Howard, are you there?
I am. Thank you, Jason.
Welcome. Howard is. Howard, go ahead.
As Jason mentioned, Howard Tung from Google on the channel sales team. I've been with Google since 2010, focusing on strategic partnerships, partners like WordStream to help SMBs, small medium businesses, get online.
Great, thanks, Howard, and thanks for joining us today. And we're lucky to have you. Next, Larry Kim, our returning champion. Larry, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Jason. I'm the founder and CTO of the company WordStream, and I've been doing paid search and as a consultant and as a kind of in-house person for about 10 years. And 3 years ago, I started the company, and basically our mission is to help small and medium-sized businesses succeed at paid search on AdWords.
Great, thanks, Larry. All right, so let's take a minute, learn a little bit about you. We actually have quite a few folks here on the webinar. It's real exciting. So just got a couple questions for it, and it's interactive. You can answer these right online. And we have Kathy Lamphere here from WordStream. I think she's just going to run this for you. Kathy, do you want to jump in and start the poll?
Sure. Everyone should see the polling questions on their screen. If you could just select an answer, and then we'll share the results in just a few seconds.
How long have you been involved in search marketing? Less than 1 year, 1 to 3 years, 3 to 5, or 5+. How many 5+ers do we have out there? I'm sitting next to one. Got Larry here with me.
Larry's 5+ for sure.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so we're just gonna.
Kathy, how we doing? We got all the answers in?
Yep, we're just going to share the results right now.
Great.
And Jason, you should be able to see those on your screen as well. So it looks like the majority, or 34% of our audience, has 1 to 3 years of experience with search marketing.
Yeah, we do have 21% at 5 years plus. So welcome, you guys. That's great. And about 29% with under a year. So great, good mix here of folks. Thanks, everybody. Got one more here. How would you describe your search marketing results? I'm new to search marketing. Who knows? I don't measure my results. Disappointing. I expect to see much more from PPC. Satisfactory. I'm seeing return on my investment at PPC. Or stellar. PPC is my most successful lead traffic generating channel.
Kathy, can you open that poll?
Yep. It should be on everybody's screen right now.
Great. We're filling in. Oh, great answers coming in.
Personally, I like the last 2 options.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And we're gonna talk about some of this a little bit, and why you wouldn't get those, why everyone wouldn't do those necessarily. All right, looks like most of the, a couple more people trickling in. Let's give it another few seconds. Okay, great. So I have about 33%, about a third of us are brand new to paid search. Great. About 24 disappointing, not getting the best results. Okay, interesting. And about another third, about 34% satisfactory, seeing some good results. And a couple at the top doing stellar. So So great, good mix here. So hopefully we can learn a lot during the presentation. Thanks, everybody. So I'm going to hand this over to Howard. And Howard, why don't you jump in on your presentation?
Sure. I want to first thank WordStream for inviting me here today. It's been a pleasure to get to know their team. As Jason mentioned, I'll focus on two themes today. First, I want to start with an overview of the digital space, specifically focusing on local online advertising. And then second, I really want to highlight how Google fits in this space. Next slide, please. So let's get started. Really, there's been an amazing hockey stick-like growth in the last 15 years in the way that we find and share information on Google, and the way that we make purchases, often based off of user recommendations or reviews like Amazon, and the way that we communicate with one another through social platforms, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Google+. And you don't need me to tell you that consumer behavior is changing. I think you experience it every day. But something that I do want to highlight is, as consumers have more choices, this could mean more opportunities as well as challenges for you as marketers. Next slide. So there's a lot of big stats on this slide. I'll just share a few of them with you. I'll start on the left side. Globally, there are over 2 billion people on the internet today using over 35 billion devices, and of these, 7 billion are mobile. I want to just share one more stat jumping to the bottom right. On Google, what we see over 1 billion searches every single day. And 20% of the search queries we see each day, we've actually never seen them before. They're actually new. And so if you don't remember any of these stats, just remember that online matters.
Howard, I actually find that amazing. 1 billion searches every day. And you're saying 200 million of them are unique every single day, 20%.
Every single day, absolutely.
That's amazing.
So I've talked a bit about how the online space is big, pretty amazing stuff. And not too surprisingly, if we focus on ad spend, online advertising is actually the fastest growing advertising media, faster than TV, faster than print, and faster than any other offline format. And what the slide shows on the left is a consumer's media consumption defined by the average time spent. So 25% of a person's time is spent online. And on the right side, I'm breaking down where those ad dollars are going, 19% on online. And the conclusion is really in the title, that the ad spend is following consumers online. Or another way of saying that is your advertising strategy really should follow where your users are. And I'm not here today to say only online matters, but we think it's a pretty big deal. Next slide. And so the area that I focus at Google is local. And at Google, one way we define local is in terms of location. Think your local lawyer, your local plumber that is in your area. And a few stats I wanted to share with you. Nearly all online consumers, 97%, use online media when researching products or services in their local area. About 1 in 5 desktop searches are made by people looking for something in their local area, and even a bigger number, 1 in 3 mobile searches are made by people looking for something in their local area. And I just wanted to share just a quick story that speaks to these 3 stats. Last year, I was seriously considering buying a new car, and so the first thing that I did was I went on Google, typed in the name and the manufacturer name, the model of the car, once I got those search results, started to browse through different car review sites, started to look at different images or colors of the car. And as my affinity, as my interest grew, I decided to go and check out a variety of dealerships. And so again, I went on Google, found those dealers, and looked up their addresses. And I know San Francisco pretty well, but I don't know the East Bay that well. And so I got lost, and I had to use my mobile phone to search for that dealership, the auto dealership again. And so hopefully these stats also speak to you about the opportunity in local and the way that consumers are searching for your business and the way that they're specifically searching on desktop and mobile. Next slide. And so I've shared a variety of stats, but I really want to focus also on growth. And what we're seeing is a nice, healthy trend line to the right of local categories like decorators, lawyers, plumbers, restaurants, and auto. A very nice trend in terms of the volume of search queries. And what we're seeing on Google is more and more consumers are searching for these categories: decorators, lawyers, plumbers, etc. And if we look on a year-over-year basis, 20 to 40%, there's a 20 to 40% increase in traffic or searches across these categories. That's a pretty meaningful number, and I expect that trend to continue. And so that kind of wraps up in terms of the online and local space. I also want to provide an overview of how I think about an online marketing strategy and how Google fits in, as I mentioned in the beginning. And I'm calling this marketing strategy really the 4 Bs. You can go to the next slide. Those 4 Bs are be found, be relevant, be engaging, and be accountable. And I'll walk through each. Let's start with be found. Next slide. So be found is really about understanding where your customers are finding your business. And I already shared that on Google.com. We get billions of searches each day. And for local categories like plumbers and lawyers, more and more consumers are searching for these businesses on Google, a really nice, healthy year-over-year trend. And search ads offer an incredible opportunity to reach users in the moment of relevancy, in the moment that they're really actively demonstrating interest in your product or service. And these search ads appear in the most prominent areas on Google, above and on the right side of search results. And so the example here is pizza, and you can see the relevant ads that have surfaced. Next slide. So again, be found is really about understanding where your customers are finding your business. And one destination, consumers can find businesses on Google+. And today we have over 170 million users on Google+ today. Our vision related to social, related to Google+, is to really integrate into every Google product a social element, whether that's Google Search, AdWords, or YouTube. And once you're logged into Google+, you're just think of it as just using one Google, not a series of separate products. And I want to focus on plus pages, which provide a way to engage much more closely with your customer. And on plus pages, businesses can take advantage of some very unique video capabilities like Hangouts to have face-to-face conversations with your customers, perhaps share a daily or weekly promotion on Google+, or let consumers recommend your businesses to others through a +1 action. And I'm very happy with our Google+ product today, and really look forward to seeing businesses interact in a real way with their customers there. The next B is about being relevant. And being relevant is about understanding your consumer's behavior. One question that I want to pose is, how important is mobile to your business? And based on the data that I see, I think mobile is a pretty big deal. Every industry analyst have said that mobile will be bigger than desktop within the next 3 years. And most of them believe it could happen this year. Or in other words, that the mobile devices will exceed desktop sometime this year. Another interesting stat that we see here at Google, mobile searches are growing 500% in the last 2 years, or 5x. And what I think is the most interesting one is after looking up a local business on a smartphone, 61% of users called and 59% visited. And you know, again, that last one speaks to me very much so this week. Don't forget Mother's Day is coming up, and I've been doing a lot of mobile searches and calling many restaurants on my mobile phone today. So we can go to the next slide. So again, being relevant is about understanding your consumer's behavior, and I wanted to highlight a few behaviors on mobile. If you look at the blue line, that's mobile traffic or mobile activity. And if you look at the gray line, that's PC or desktop activity. And what you see on the blue line is users or on mobile are spending more time on mobile as the day progresses, especially after 8 p.m. And I know that when I'm at home or out of town, my preferred device is actually my mobile phone, not desktop. And not too surprisingly, while we're at work or at school, the gray line, desktop usage, peaks during midday. One more mobile stat, if we can go to the next slide. This graph shows a weekly view of desktop versus mobile searches. Again, the blue line is mobile, gray line is desktop. And we see a similar story, right? Desktop searches peak during work weeks, and mobile searches peak during weekends. And I asked the question earlier, how important is mobile? And I believe if you're not on mobile today, you're missing out on potential customers who are searching for your business, especially in the evening and especially during the weekend. The next B is B, engaging. It's about understanding where your customer is spending their time. So when they're not searching, consumers are checking email, they're making purchases, they're visiting a favorite website. Mine happens to be ESPN.com and been following more closely the NBA playoffs recently. And we've come a long way since the banner pop-up days. Display today is an ad format that can really engage with your audience. On Google Display Network today reaches over 90% of internet users, and we offer many engaging ad formats such as rich media ads, stacked banner ads, and video ads. And I always find the next slide pretty interesting.
Hey, Howard, I just had a question on display, if I may. I get a lot of people asking us, what percentage of their spend should they put on search or on display, or if they should do display. Do you have any insight into that? How much should people be spending on each?
Well, let me first start by saying I think display, as you'll see in this slide, is a really great ad format for businesses, for SMBs that have a longer lead time. So think of auto as an example. I gave my example earlier. You're going to be searching on Google, and then when you're not searching on Google, you're actually spending a lot of time browsing through these content pages, right? And so display is really a great ad format to surface for those specific businesses. I won't necessarily give out a percentage per se, but when I think about a good media mix, often it's anchored by search. Mobile is super relevant as well. And then I would say the third kind of percentage would probably just be display in that order.
Great, thanks.
I could share a little bit of data here, Howard. I was just doing some research, and I found that on average, in terms of a median value, advertisers allocate 19% of their Google budget towards display advertising. That's the median value, though. Like some people are more, and others a lot less.
Yeah, that number definitely jumps with me. Yeah, close to 20% is a very healthy number. And so, good question, guys. Just to piggyback on the conversation, just want to show a few quick stats again. 95% of a person's time during the week is spent outside of search, right? And the top two being content, reading content, and spending time on community or social sites. And definitely when I look at my behavior, this is also true. And one other stat I want to focus on the right side, on the top one, nearly 4 in 10 internet users who respond to online display advertising learn about the brand or SMB for the first time as a result of seeing that ad. And so pretty meaningful. So if you're not on display today, again, potentially missing out on leads to your business. Let's talk about the last B, and it's about being accountable. And being accountable is about tracking the performance or the return on investment on your online strategy. And the beauty of Google is when you put your ad on Google, we provide some great tools, some great reporting and measurement to let you know what you are paying for. And so for every click on the ad, you know exactly what you're paying for. And that's just something that encourage you guys as you build out your campaign. Definitely know what you're getting. So that kind of wraps up my section for the most part. Really remember the 4 B's in your online strategy. It's about being found, understand where your consumers are, being relevant, understanding how your consumers are behaving, be engaging, understand how your consumers are spending their time, and lastly, be accountable, measure the performance of your online strategy. And my hope today really is that you learned just a bit more about Google Ad products in light of some of the interesting trends that we saw today. I'll stick around for Q&A, and at this time I'll hand it off to Larry.
Hey, thanks, Howard. You know, I'm always super excited to hear you talk about all the potential that you have here in search and the trends that are happening in mobile search and social and display advertising and web analytics. It's just I thought in my presentation today, let's just take it as a given that Google offers this incredibly potentially incredible, impactful marketing platform for small and medium-sized businesses to grow their businesses. So we'll just take that as a given, okay? And instead, what I'm going to be focusing on today in my presentation, we're going to be talking more about helping you choose a path that will is most likely to lead to you realizing all of these benefits that Howard was just describing in terms of all the power and the opportunity in the Google Ad platform, especially for small and medium-sized businesses. Because if you're not a full-time search marketer, which is typically the case in small and medium-sized businesses, then I think you'll find that it can be quite challenging to keep up with all of the different innovations and exciting new features and stay ahead of the game there. And just to prove this point, I thought we could play a little bit of AdWords trivia, sort of a couple pop quiz here. Basically, my first question is just how often do small businesses, meaning businesses spending under $5,000 a month on AdWords, how often do these advertisers do work in their account? And the answer is less than half of them do anything in a month, and in fact, a quarter of them haven't done anything in 90 days. And so my second question for today is just what percentage of small and medium-sized businesses have used at least one negative keyword in the last 90 days. Now, in case you don't know what that is, a negative keyword is a very, very important targeting option in AdWords that allows you to exclude your ad from showing up from certain searches that aren't relevant to your business. So how many small and medium-sized businesses actually use this in the last 90 days? And the answer is, less than half of them have used one in the last 90 days, and about 20% of them haven't used one ever. And my last question for today is just what percentage of small and medium-sized businesses use conversion tracking in their accounts? And now, of course, this is a very important feature. It allows you to determine sort of what's working and what's not working in your account. So, and the answer is less than half of them. So, basically, I think what I'm trying to highlight here is that that small and medium-sized businesses are struggling here because they're not necessarily using all the tools to take advantage of search here. And so, in case you're wondering where all this data comes from, it's coming from our AdWords grader, but we'll talk about that in just a second. Basically, we've evaluated thousands of these AdWords accounts, and we've looked over thousands of these businesses' accounts, and from my vantage point, what I'm seeing is that the average AdWords campaign for small and medium-sized businesses, it could be in a little bit of bad shape here, and those are just some of the examples that I was showing you, the lack of using the features and stuff, and low activity levels. Those are just some of the lowlights. I could have gone on for more. And basically what I think what's happening is what I'm calling a PPC death spiral. This is my word. Basically how it works is due to the complexity and lack of time that advertisers, they start off kind of in a bad footing. They start off with mediocre campaigns, and then these mediocre campaigns, because they're not necessarily designed that greatly to begin with, they get kind of penalized with low quality scores, which then results in like lower ad positions and higher cost per click, which results in further deterioration of their performance. And if you stay stuck in this cycle for a couple months, it generally results in frustration or complacency or failure. And I think that's really unfortunate because, as I was saying earlier today, I really think that AdWords is a fantastic marketing venue for small, medium-sized businesses, it's just like a matter of having the right tools or the right services, or like just finding the right path to being able to realize that success. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. What can be done about this this unfortunate trend. Specifically, I'm going to be outlining a simple 4-step plan on how to best realize the full potential of Google advertising for your small and medium-sized business while avoiding some of the pitfalls that I was talking about earlier in this presentation. Let's talk a little bit about these steps that I've identified here on the screen here. So if you're not already doing paid search marketing, then the first step, before you can even choose a path for PPC, is to figure out if PPC is a great fit for your business or not. Particularly if your business is in the business of providing sort of the goods and services that people are looking for but don't necessarily know where to get. Think of all that stuff that you used to look up in the yellow pages. If you're one of those business categories, or alternatively, if your business is selling something that has a little bit higher margin or a longer, higher margin, like a bigger sticker price, or a longer customer lifetime due to the possibility for repeat business. So think of like a dentist or something like that. These businesses tend to do a lot better. Now search, I found, can be working for almost any business, but particularly if your company has any of those characteristics, I think you really ought to be seriously considering doing PPC marketing. If you already are doing PPC marketing, and maybe you're like in one of those, I'm open to doing better, or not doing great, or frustrated with PPC, then I think it's really important to figure out exactly where you stand. And what the way to do this is to just grade yourself, and this is tremendously important because you need to sort of establish a baseline for your performance. And basically, I'd like to just ask you on the phone here, go grade yourself right now. Just click on. Just go to www.wordstream.com/Google AdWords. It's just go to this link here. We'll take a minute for you to do that. Jason, do you want to talk a little bit about the grader?
Sure. As you're filling that out, first page, just put your info real quick. The next step is just going to ask you for your AdWords credentials. When you put it in there, just so you know, it is completely secure. We don't actually save that information. We run your grade. We do delete all that information from our system. Everyone always asks me that. But what you get back in about a minute or less is an 8-point evaluation of your account. And it gives you some great insights into how you're doing. I'm actually going to give you an opportunity at the end when Larry's done to contact us or have us contact you and get a professional overview and a review of what your grader report actually says about how you're doing. Usually really valuable. In about 15 minutes or so, we can really go in and show you some of those areas that maybe you scored really great on. We can tell you why you're scoring great, and maybe the areas that you're not scoring so great on, and we can help you to improve that. So go ahead and finish that up. And
hey, Jason and Larry, I just want to make a quick comment about the grader. Something that I personally like about the grader, it focuses on keywords, it focuses on quality scoring, focuses on CTR, which I think is definitely the right approach when you're thinking about grading an account performance. So I think the audience here should expect something to learn something new through these reports, and they're displayed in a way that are pretty meaningful.
Thanks, Howard.
Great. So hopefully you've had a chance to run that and see where you stand, the truth will set you free here. If you have a bad score, it's good to know kind of really where you stand. So then my next step in this process is you'll need to establish goals. You're going to have to figure out exactly how to monitor the results, because different businesses measure the ROI of paid search in different ways. So for example, say you're like a small and medium-sized business, you might view the ROI of paid search in terms of the cost and the quantity of the marketing leads that get generated to your site. Other people, they might want to measure the ROI differently, like making the phone ring or just driving traffic to your site. My only point here is just that there's different types of yardsticks, and they offer different levels of accountability, but also some of them are a little bit more complex to set up and analyze. So just let's keep that in mind. And my next step here is it's to assess the resources that you have available, and I think this is very important to help you decide sort of how specifically you're going to be implementing PPC in your business. The most important criteria, I think, are your budget. So in Howard's presentation, he was saying that roughly 25% of the average consumer media consumption happens online, and so from that perspective, I think it would make sense to allocate at least that much of your marketing budget towards paid search marketing, if not more. In terms of time, how many hours can you actually dedicate to PPC marketing every week? Now, like anything else in business, you're going to have to, you sort of get out of it what you put in. So meaning in order to achieve success at PPC, you're going to have to dedicate a little bit of time every week to sort of manage and optimize your campaigns, as well as keep on top of all the trends and new features. And so, if you're already overworked as it is, then outsourcing to a trusted company could prove to be a more compelling option. And finally, staff. Are you the only marketer in your company? Can you afford to hire a full-time marketer? Does it make sense to outsource? These are the types of resourcing questions that you should be asking yourself, and a realistic assessment of these resources will lead to a better informed decision on how to implement PPC. So finally, at a high level, there really are just 3 roads to go down here if you want to really succeed at PPC marketing, and I thought we could just take a look at the different pros and cons of the different methods. So if you have the time to spend, doing it yourself, then this is definitely your cheapest option. Though, as I was mentioning earlier, it's also for many small and medium-sized businesses, it's also the most likely path to lead to this PPC death spiral that I was talking about earlier. And so, just keep in mind that if you choose to do it yourself, then you're kind of signing up to be responsible, to be learning AdWords and keeping up with the different features, and you need to dedicate a little bit of time every week to managing and optimizing your campaigns on an ongoing basis. That's really key for success. Path 2 is to leverage third-party software. Third-party PPC tools and platforms can offer you additional productivity and return on investment, though you still need to do a little bit of work there. Take, for example, WordStream. WordStream is a provider of a PPC management platform called PPC Advisor, and here's a screenshot of what it looks like. One of the key innovations that we provide our customers with is this thing called the 20-minute PPC workweek. It's on the right side of your screen there. And in a nutshell, this software gives productivity to our users by analyzing all of the account information in your AdWords account and provides specific recommendations on the things that you should be focusing on and how to fix them. And that way you don't have to be a data analyst. You don't have to spend all that time doing complicated data analysis work. And the neat thing is that we kind of prioritize the actions so that you're always focusing on sort of the lowest hanging fruit as opposed to dreaming up all sorts of things that you could be doing. And this is a way that just takes 20 minutes per week. And finally, outsourcing. This is often the quickest and most likely path to PPC success if you're a small or medium-sized business who maybe doesn't have like a ton of time to learning AdWords or managing it on an ongoing basis. Though one of the challenges with outsourcing is that it can be very difficult for businesses that aren't spending a lot of money on AdWords. Like say you're not spending $50,000 a month on AdWords, it's sometimes very difficult and challenging to get access to affordable PPC services from reputable search marketing firms. And so that's exactly why Google and WordStream are partnering together. That's why we're here today. We're here to offer this fantastic new PPC outsourcing option that's new and specifically targeted to small and medium-sized businesses. We're calling this new service PPC Express, and it's great. We do all the work. You get a dedicated support rep. We you get one integrated bill every month. We guarantee our work. And so just to get started, you just sign up for a free web traffic assessment, and we'll do all of the steps that I was talking about earlier in trying to help you figure out if it's a good fit and sort of setting your expectations. Like, we can do research and try to figure out how much traffic and leads you could expect to drive from PPC marketing. And we'll write all of that up into one transparent proposal that details exactly what you could expect to get from PPC and at what cost. So the traffic, this PPC Express offering, as I was mentioning earlier, comes with a satisfaction guarantee. So if we don't deliver the agreed upon traffic within 6 months of services, then we'll continue to work for you for free until we do. And additionally, I just wanted to point out that well, we partner with all of the major search engines, including Google, but also including Bing and Yahoo Search. So it's a very simple turnkey solution for small and medium-sized businesses trying to just get presence and exposure on all of the major search engines. So in summary, I said this at the beginning, I think PPC marketing is a fantastic venue for small and medium-sized businesses to grow their businesses, but I'm not going to lie to you either, it's not the easiest thing in the world. It can be complicated, especially if you're a small and medium-sized business with other things to do. But you can do it. It's just a matter of picking sort of picking out the kinds of resources that you can devote to the process and choosing an implementation method that makes most sense for your business. And if you're, particularly if you're new to PPC, or if you've tried it in the past, or if you're a busy person and would rather be spending your time sort of managing your business rather than managing AdWords, then I would highly recommend that you check out our new PPC or Express offering. And so with that, I'd like to just hand it over to Jason.
All right, great. Thanks, Larry, and thanks, Howard. So, folks, stick around. We are going to do some Q&A. We do have several questions that came in already that we're going to answer, and certainly we'll open up to some more. I hope you all got a chance to do the PPC grader, and when we're done with this, you can take a look at it. If you haven't done it, please go ahead and do it. And you can actually give us a call or sign up and get a free PPC analysis. And I told you about this. We'll give you an honest assessment of what path you should take. We'll look over your grader, find where some of your strengths or weaknesses may be, and suggest a good path for you. It could be our software. It could be PPC Express, like Larry said. It could be that you're doing great. Maybe you just need a couple tips on your own. Happy to share that with you as well. If you do sign up for WordStream, we have a couple great offers that I told you I was going to offer to you. If you sign up for a PPC Advisor, which is our software, we'll throw in 2 months of our free Premier Consulting. That's an hour a month free consulting with one of our PPC experts. So not only do we give you great software that guides you along, but we'll work with you for an hour a month and kind of look at your account in greater detail and maybe answer some of your questions about what you should do next or how you could even make some of your campaigns better. If you choose to go with PPC Express, you can get up to $600 in free advertising. So call us and ask us about those things. Great, so I think we have one more question to ask.
Hey, Kathy, do you want to put up our last poll for our audience here?
Absolutely. So our last question actually is if you would like us to follow up with you regarding a free path analysis, which Jason mentioned just a few minutes ago, to help you find the best path to being profitable with PPC. So if you want to just take a minute to answer that question, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Great, we're getting some responses there. Fantastic. And like I mentioned, if you're not ready right now, do go to our website. We have a great blog. There's plenty of information on there. There are free trials of our software which you can sign up for. It's a 7-day free trial, fully functioning. And of course, there's our phone number on there. You can contact us anytime. Glad to talk to you.
One of the neat things about the path analysis is just, paid search. If you're running your own account, sometimes it's really helpful to get sort of a second opinion. I've always, even though I've been doing this for 10 years, I always welcome sort of a second look from a neutral party, because there's always value in that.
For sure, for sure. And I think it's time for our Q&A. Is that right, Kathy? We queued up? We've got some good questions.
Absolutely. We definitely have some questions, and if people have more questions, feel free to just enter them in that question box that you see on the right-hand side of your screen. And let's see. So our first question is actually a question about bid management, and someone is actually looking for some good sources for information on bid management best practices.
I can take that one.
Sure, go for it, Larry.
So on our blog, we have an article called 18 experts provide their best bid management tips, and I think that was a very helpful article talking about like the tips and tricks that people use. Additionally, the WordStream for PPC Advisor, our software, provides integrated keyword bid management, which could help you with that.
We actually have a pretty powerful bid management tool in our software. So the person that asked that question, if you do sign up for a free trial, you'll see it there. And I definitely recommend that you call us, and in about 10 minutes we can show you how it works. And if you have any just general questions on how to do bid management better, we'd be happy just to point you in the right direction if it's not our tool that's best for you.
Great. So the next question is actually around mobile. The person is asking how to run a mobile search campaign through Google.
A good one for Howard, huh? Howard? Or?
I can take that one, sure. So there's a lot of best practices when it comes to running a mobile campaign. A couple of things come to mind. First has to do with campaign targeting. So it's a best practice to separate sort of your campaigns based on the devices that you're targeting. So Google allows you to segment your campaigns into campaigns that are targeting sort of desktop search and campaigns that are targeting devices like the iPhone or Android phones. And you should definitely consider separating them into their own campaigns. Secondly, another thing, a couple of tips come to mind. There's this very powerful AdWords extension called the click-to-call extension, because people are going to be on their mobile phones. Maybe they don't want to type out like some complicated lead form with like first name, last name, or maybe they just want to call you. And so that's a pretty cool extension that AdWords has to offer that it has integrated tracking, and then they can just call you and see how that's doing. And a final best practice that I want to share is we're finding that the quality of your landing page makes a big difference on mobile. So if you can sort of mobile enable your site, make sure that it's working using HTML5 or mobile-friendly landing pages, that's pretty key. Howard, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, definitely. Sorry I didn't jump in. I was having some issues with my phone, but I think Larry was spot on. It starts with separating out your campaign into a mobile-only campaign so that you have more control, more control around your bids, more control around your keywords. As you can imagine, the way you choose search on your mobile device might be different than desktop. Definitely add the phone extension, the click-to-call. And something that I'll add is location extension is also a great ad extension on mobile. You can expect a 20 to 30% uplift in CTR when you do turn that on. And so imagine when you're on your mobile device and you see actually an address that you recognize or a street name that you recognize, you're probably more likely to click on that ad. So I would also recommend turning on location extensions within your mobile campaign.
So actually another question around click-to-call. One of our attendees said that he doesn't think that click-to-call is available yet outside of the US and UK, and if so, will it be, are there plans to make it available to other countries?
Yeah, so let me clarify that. I think what you're thinking of is call metrics, and that's the Google forwarding number, and we also provide some more robust reporting and tracking related to your calls. That's only available in the US and UK, but phone extensions are available beyond those regions today.
Great. Actually, another question around mobile. This person is asking, can I just replicate my current campaigns and target them to mobile?
I mean, you could. I mean, that's a fine way to start in terms of when you set up your desktop campaign, you can opt into mobile, right? And so basically, we call that a hybrid campaign, and that'll basically replicate all the keywords and bids and the ad text that are in your desktop campaign. And I do think that you would see an uplift in your CTR, potentially up to 10%. But really, the power is in the optimization, right? As you guys know, not all accounts are created equal. And so once you start doing some tweaks, like adding the phone extension, like potentially reevaluating your bid strategy, all those things will definitely have a much bigger impact.
Okay. The next question is, are there different strategies that you would recommend for B2B companies? Often the advice I come across is geared mainly towards B2C companies.
So just going back to my presentation, I think the 4 Bs is also relevant, right? Not just the small and medium businesses. It's about really understanding your consumer behavior when they're finding your business. With B2B, I still think that many of the things that WordStream can offer through the grader, through full management are definitely still relevant to B2B as well as to B2C as well.
Great. And Larry, I think, or Larry or Jason, a question for you. So this person works for an agency, has a plethora of clients, and wants to know how they can be sure that their client data is safe if they were to use either PPC Advisor or WordStream services.
Sure. I would just direct you to our kind of our privacy policy that we don't aggregate or like we don't share the data with any third party, and we take necessary precautions to encrypt the data that we do provide.
I'll jump in too. I get this question fairly often. First off, our clients are split about 50-50 between individual advertisers who are B2B as well as B2C. We work with a lot of B2B folks. The other half would be agencies who use our PPC Advisor software just to get better efficiency in their daily workflow. And the question I get is, hey, how my customers are on there? Are they going to want to use WordStream themselves and so forth? The answer I give is, we don't market to those customers. We don't know who they are. We don't have their contact information there. They are your customers. Any of the data that we take, I know at the beginning of the presentation, Larry gave out some data points. That's not taken from any of our customer data. That's actually taken just from raw data from our grader that's completely anonymous. So any of the stats that we provide for our research, whatever, is not taken from customer data in any way, shape, or form.
Okay. So the next question, this person is actually asking, I have a set budget for PPC, so how do I work in, how do I account for spending on software or services on top of that?
Good question, and we get that quite a bit. There's a couple ways that people pay for our services or the software. One is they just find a little bit more budget for it. It's not that expensive. It's very fairly priced, we believe. But another really easy one is, let's say you have a $2,500 budget a month that you're spending on PPC, and you want to utilize the software. Software is $299 a month. Just simply lower your spend down by $299. Put in the software. Your budget stays exactly the same. You're still spending $2,500 a month, but now you've got this great tool that's going to help you get even more ROI out of that $2,500. Part of the consultation we can do with you, if you do call us, have us look at your grader and so forth, is help you kind of figure out whether that's true or not and try to prove that to you. But that's the easiest thing to do. You don't have to raise your budget at all. The same with PPC Express. If you do go for, it comes in a couple different packages. The first package is $1,500. If that's your current budget, just simply keep your budget there. Our services include the management fee as well as all the Google clicks and Yahoo clicks and so forth. So you really don't have to raise your budget at all to do one of these solutions.
Great. So we've got another budget question. what's the minimum amount that you would recommend a small business spend per month on PPC to start seeing an increase in traffic or calls?
I can take that. You know, it really depends, and it's very specific to your industry. There are industries that have that are very competitive, have very expensive clicks and so forth, and you're going to need a couple hundred clicks and so forth to get a customer. So you know, you might want to have a bigger budget for that type of thing. I don't know, one that comes to mind, you know, maybe lawyers, for instance, pretty competitive. But there are industries where you can get clicks really cheaply. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars a month to get really good results. You know, Howard's talking about local businesses. Local businesses can spend anywhere from a few $100 a month to, you know, to $1,500 or $2,000 a month and get all the business they need through PPC. It's one of the things we can actually help you out when if you don't have a budget set out, you're wondering what to do, call us. We'll look at your business and we'll try to recommend a budget to get started with. But it doesn't have to be thousands a month, although it could be. It could be much lower.
Yeah, that's what you get from the path analysis. You know, you'd get a proposal showing exactly kind of what you would expect to get at what cost.
I'll just kind of add to that for our PPC Express service, that kind of full service that we do for you. The starter package is $1,500. So you would want to have a budget that's at least $1,500 to do that. As far as our software, you know, typically it's about the same. You want to be spending at least $1,000 or $1,500 a month in PPC to take full advantage of the software, at least for our solutions.
So the next question is actually, we have an attendee who has a high-ticket service or product, and is saying that that this product requires a lot of research, and that there could be click-throughs that are very early in the sales funnel and potentially might not convert for 8 to 12 months. With that being the case, would paid search still be a good avenue for this type of product?
So
Howard, do you want to take that one, or?
Yeah, I can take this one. So I talked a bit about display, and display is a great ad format for the products and services that have a longer purchasing cycle. I think I heard 8 to 12 months for your business. And when you combine search with display, because I think even for high ticket items, they're still doing quite a bit of searches. You're right, early in the purchasing cycle, but they're also doing it in the later stages of the purchasing cycle as well. And so I don't think you want to miss out on those potential clicks, those potential leads. But what I would recommend is a higher mix of display, and certainly still doing search.
The other thing to keep in mind, if you are, I don't know exactly what type of business you are, but if you are a B2B business, perhaps your first step in making that connection is to gather a lead, right? You've got to get that somewhere. And typically, if you know what your metrics are, hey, the number of leads, opportunities, if you will, that it takes to get a sale, I think you can probably judge. You can get that lead pretty quickly, right? It might not turn into revenue for 12 months, but you could judge if you're getting that lead or that connection with future customers, I think, pretty quickly.
Okay. Another question is, if I use your PPC Express option, what kind of reporting and support is provided so that I can understand my PPC campaign results?
Great question. We actually have a dashboard that's included. And you can actually log in at any time and look at the performance of your account. You can see how many impressions you're getting, how many clicks, where your cost is going. It's pretty transparent and tells you what's going on. We also set up a monthly call where you'll talk with your rep. This is the person who's doing the work on your account. And they'll go over a more detailed report with you and tell you exactly how many clicks you got, how many conversions that we tracked for you, and so forth. And then they might consult with you a little bit on, hey, what do you want to do next month? Maybe we want to work on some new ads and so forth. And that's an important relationship that we want to build with you. We don't do this stuff in a bubble. You know your business well. You know perhaps what ad text is going to work. And we'll try to optimize it with you, but we try to be as transparent as we can, giving you, again, that dashboard, a monthly report, and a monthly consultation with your rep here.
Great. So the next question is actually a PPC Advisor question. Does PPC Advisor work with campaigns in languages other than English?
It does, absolutely. And we actually have a lot of clients outside the U.S. We're very well known in Europe. It'll work on any language. I will tell you, when you call us for a consultation, most of us here just speak English, okay? But we can show you how the tools work, and it should work just fine.
Okay, great. And we just got time for just one or two more questions. We have a question about site links. If you could speak to the pros and cons of using site links.
So site links is actually a great ad extension. Specifically, well, let me just take a quick step back. I'll try to describe site links the best I can without a visual. But imagine when you see the Google ad, there's basically an inline. There's an inline word that, for example, if you're a dentist and you offer a variety of services like teeth whitening, you might want to put a site link for teeth whitening that goes directly to the landing page on your site about teeth whitening. And what's great about that is it just gives a consumer a lot more information about the services that you offer. And so if I'm looking for a dentist and teeth whitening is on the top of my mind, I'm more likely to click on that ad, right, and potentially become a customer. So I just think there's a lot of upsides in site links. You know, if you don't have a very robust landing page or site that kind of sections off your different services, then might not make as much sense. But I think, you know, for site links, you know, I would recommend testing it for all small, medium businesses.
Yeah, this is like by far my #1 highly recommended ad extension. Like that's kind of like the lowest hanging fruit. You know, there's some pretty complicated extensions like social extensions and all this other stuff. But this, for the ad extension, like why wouldn't you? Like I can only think of that one case where if you don't have a lot of different offers, then maybe it wouldn't make sense. But absolutely, give it a try.
Okay, we have another AdWords question. How does AdWords decipher between mobile clicks, tablet clicks, and computer clicks?
Well, it's all within AdWords. I mean, we can report by device. We can report by mobile as an example, and we can actually tell you. So that's all within the AdWords experience.
And the way that AdWords knows is because when your mobile phone, you know, goes to Google and asks for like a search on ski jackets or something, it also sends to Google a little bit of information about, oh, and by the way, I'm on an iPad or on a browser, and so Google can kind of read that and report on that.
So we've got time for just one more question. This attendee said he's been reading that they're reading some trends that say consumers prefer organic results versus PPC results, and what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm glad someone asked that. And Google recently did a study, and we looked, even if you appear on the organic result today on the first page, once you add a paid campaign, PPC marketing, you can expect a 50 to 90% uplift in clicks. So in other words, if even if you're only showing on organic results, if you're not doing paid advertising, you're really losing out on 50 to 90% clicks. And so, you know, if you show up on the first page on Google, that's great. But, you know, again, definitely recommend starting a campaign and seeing if it works for you.
I would just also add, you know, on searches where there's a lot of commercial intent, like buying something or comparing something, I think what you'll find is that, you know, almost all of the space above the fold is dedicated to paid search ads, and so, of course, that's a lot of exposure that you're leaving out if you're not doing paid search. Like those clicks are going to your competitors, basically.
And we're believers in SEO here at WordStream as well, but you know, the fact is getting on that first page of SEO is hard. If you're there, that's great, congratulations. But if you're not, how you're going to get there. It takes a lot of work and a lot of time, whereas if you do PPC, you can get in the first page of those searches you want right away. It's much easier to do.
Okay, well, thank you. That's all the time we have for questions today. So I'm going to hand it back over to the presenters to wrap things up.
Great. Thanks again, everyone, for coming, and those of you who stuck around. Again, just a reminder, if you haven't done your grader, go ahead. The address is right there on your screen. It's also right on our homepage. You can't miss it. Our phone number is there on the screen, on our website as well. We'd love to talk to you. We are here all day. When you do call, someone will pick up right away and be happy to answer any questions you have about WordStream, or just do analysis of your grader for you and see if we can help you out. Thanks again, Howard, for your time.
Oh, thank you, guys.
Yeah, and thanks, Larry.